with Rob Parker, brought to you by Mercedes, the best or nothing. And I say that having built a nice relationship with Rob, but congratulations for you dealing with Rob on a daily basis.
It's not easy. Last time I was in this studio, I had spent 6 hours with Rob on TV and radio, and I got sick. You remember that?
Well, he'll change your ecosystem, Rob will. Let's start with this. It's not a knock on Anthony Davis. It's a reality. He's 60th in the NBA in fourth quarter points. His field goal percentage plummets. I consider him a great talent. I don't trust him to play 17 straight games in the playoffs. I've always thought this league is built up of few leaders, but dozens of incredibly gifted players. Is that an unfair criticism of AD? Well,
you're right in that he's a number one talent, but he's a number 1A or 2 mentality.
That's right.
And I think one of the things that the Lakers and LeBron are trying to do is get him to eventually become a number one guy. Right now, you have LeBron as the leader and the number one guy, so you may not need AD to be that, but in the future, they want to groom him to be that guy. The fourth quarter numbers, I don't put that all on AD.
Who do you put it on?
Because if you look at the way they play, he plays the entire third quarter for the most part, and then he's playing less than 6 minutes a game in the fourth quarters throughout the season.
Is that because they don't trust him?
I don't understand why it is, because I am of the belief that if you're going to beat the Clippers, you are going to need Anthony Davis to be huge in that series, particularly in the fourth quarter.
He's not a liability at the free throw line.
No, and look, I was encouraged. I've been encouraged about AD against Denver when they beat them before the break, which was a great win. He took 5 shots in the fourth quarter, scored 7 points. And then like yesterday against Boston, I know he was 1 for 6, but the fact that he took 6 shots, the fact that he hit 5 of 7 free throws, he missed a couple layups late. He hit a three-pointer with 2 minutes left to break a tie. He missed a couple layups late, which I know he'll make in the future. So I like the fact that they were playing him more late in the game, and he was aggressive. So the Clippers don't have anybody to match up with him, Colin. They've got guys to match up with LeBron.
He's a little bit
He's going to need to be dominant.
When the Lakers had Shaq and the late Kobe, I remember asking one time in a Portland series, I asked Phil Jackson I said, what is your game plan for Rasheed Wallace? And he said, we don't have one. Horace Grant can't stop him, and we can't have Shaq chasing him around the floor. There are players you don't have an answer for. AD is, for the Clippers, an issue.
No question about it. And I believe for the rest of the season, the Lakers need to be grooming AD in the fourth quarters to be that guy to take over. We know what LeBron can do in the fourth, but we need AD, if you're the Lakers, to be that guy. You got to get him used to beating up Montrezl Harrell and Zubac and whoever they put on. So I've actually been encouraged. He was only averaging 3 shots a game in the fourth quarter up until recently. He had 5 in the fourth against Denver, 6 yesterday against Boston. I'm encouraged if I'm a Lakers fan by that.
Okay, I'll tell you. Boston checks all the boxes for me outside of size. Coaching, playoff experience, depth of scoring. They play well on the road. That's a sign of maturity. Younger teams, Miami, Philly, chemistry issues, not great on the road. Anytime a team is good on the road, it tells me I got grown-ups. You know, you got kids. The more mature a kid is, the better you can take them on a plane, take them on the road, and they can be a grown-up.
That's why Philly's horrible on the road.
And Miami's young. And Miami's young. Boston's good on the road. And I worry about their size. But to go into L.A., no Kemba Walker, and they led with 1:17 to go. I watched that game yesterday, and I'm like, would not shock me at all to Boston not only be in the NBA Finals, but be toe-to-toe with the Laker-Clipper team. I like them.
There was one box they didn't check until recently. Superstar.
And they have one.
And now Jayson Tatum is becoming that. We always looked at them last year, you know, with Kyrie being, you know, that situation the year before without Kyrie. And even this year, I think the first half of the year, they're really good, but they're not at the level of the great teams and the Lakers, the Clippers, the Milwaukees. It was because they seem to have a lot of guys who were really good, but not that one superstar. Jayson Tatum is now taking that step. In the month of February, he's averaging 30 points a game.
Yeah.
You saw him put 39 points on the best perimeter defense in the league, the Clippers, and Kawhi had no answer. Patrick Beverly, none of those guys, Beverly wasn't there, but none of those guys had an answer for him.
We eat these kids alive. He's not 22 yet. Could we?
Right.
This kid comes into the league, just think about this. You're 19 years old, and go guard LeBron. I'm 19 years old. I lost my wallet twice a week.
Right. Now, he is becoming, and then obviously the great game yesterday against the Lakers.
He can hit threes now, too.
He's hitting three. His handle is great. He can get wherever he wants to on the court. He obviously can finish at the rim. He's got the mid-range. With him playing like this, they are a legitimate threat in the East. I still would go with Milwaukee, but with their coaching, as you said, they're going to be tough to handle. I like Philly, too. Here's what I want to watch about Philly. I'm watching their road record over the second half of the season. Because you said it. They're immature. All their issues. That shows on the road. 25, they were 26-2 at home last time I checked. Best
they were
record
9-19 on the road last time I checked.
And that's why I'm saying I'm watching them on the road. They've beaten the top 4 teams in each conference at home. So don't write them off, all I'm saying.
All right, 2 more things. First of all, it's interesting. I really like the Clippers. I like everything about them. It hasn't been... They're one spot out of the 5th spot. It's been a bumpy... Could we at least acknowledge, even in the building, it's been a little bit of a rough regular season?
There's a lot going on because, number one, last year, what was the mentality that ran through that organization?
Hard, every night, grind. They were like
every
Brooklyn
possession
with talent.
Yes. Every possession mattered. Now Kawhi comes in, and the way you bent over to get Kawhi, which you did the right thing, get Kawhi, but you kind of had to kowtow to him, and his mentality is more regular season really doesn't matter. So you go from every possession counts to the first 5 months of the season don't really count. And it's just about May and June, and that's been an adjustment. That's been an issue. The second concern I have are the injuries.
Yeah, a lot of...
At some point, we need to see Paul George and Kawhi and Patrick Beverly and the rest of the squad on the court together.
Hey, listen,
consistently.
If you go to the finals last year, Toronto and Golden State were both filled with veterans. Toronto's were healthy. Golden State's fell apart.
Oh, no
Toronto
question.
was an old team. They had Siakam. They had Fred VanVleet. But it was just an old veteran team. But their old guys were all healthy.
Right. No question about that. And the third thing I'm wondering about with the Clippers is, think about it, Colin. They've never been in this position where they're the 100. You said it. They're only barely out of the 5th seed. But they're the 100. Like, most people are saying the Clippers are the favorite. The Clippers should win the championship. And Kawhi even has never been in that position. In San Antonio, when he won it, he was the 4th guy.
And they were dogs to Miami.
Right, yes. In Toronto, nobody expected him to lead that team to the championship. And you mentioned the injuries with Golden State. Everything he's done has been gravy to this point. You don't expect much, and wow, look at Kawhi Leonard. Now it's like, he's got to lead them. He's taken over LA. He wants LeBron's spot. He's challenging LeBron. Now can he handle that?
Chris, this is something I had this discussion the other day with a buddy. I said, just think of yourself. Western Conference Finals, Lakers, Clippers. And the Lakers get outplayed. And with 4 minutes left, Clippers hit a cold spot, and the Lakers steal it by 1. That could be so punitive to the Clippers' mindset.
No question.
LeBron's come back his whole career from deficits. For the first time in LeBron's career, I shouldn't say this. LeBron against Golden State was playing with house money. But when you've been an underachieving franchise and you go in as the favorite and you meet the Lakers and you play in the same building and you blow game 1, it's like, how do you sleep that night?
No.
That's what worries me, to your point. That's the only thing I worry about the Clippers.
Look, Kawhi has been emotionless. We all talk about he's like a machine. And give him credit, they were down 0-2 to Milwaukee last year. and he rallied him. So you got to give him credit. I'm not saying he will fold. I'm just saying he hasn't been in this position before.
Right.
And neither have his teammates. Lou Williams, Patrick Beverley, Montrezl Harrell, they've always been the little engine that could.
And
right?
Paul,
Nobody expects anything. We're going to win it all with our doggedness. Now it's expected of you. They're Goliath. They're not David anymore. So let's see if they can handle it.
By the way, Zion Williamson, I keep hearing, got to cut weight. How about we try stopping him first? Hey, you got to be honest. You're NBA scouts. Like, everybody keeps telling me what he needs to be. I see what he is. He is no big in this league. When he puts the ball on the floor and he takes that power dribble, people want no part of that kid's body.
He is built for today's game. And people say, what? He can't shoot. How's he built for today's game? The floor is so spread out. There aren't many bigs in the league.
There's nobody around him.
Right. There aren't many bigs, number one. The few bigs that there are, most of them don't know how to guard the post that well.
Good point.
And so when he gets it in there, he is abusing. He's 6'6". Now, I know he jumps out of the gym, but he's abusing people in the post. One thing you notice, Colin, for the most part, he always spins left.
Right.
That's my point. The great post defenders would know he's coming back left. Force him to go right. They're not doing that yet because you don't have to guard the post night in and night out in today's NBA. I love him, okay? I think he's going to be 25 and 10 for the next 8-9 years. My one question is this. He's in the honeymoon period where we all love him. Is he a number one, though?
Oh.
And here's why I question that. Look at all the number ones in the league, Colin. LeBron, Kawhi, James Harden, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Giannis. What do they all have in common? When push comes to shove, I can give it to them on the perimeter and say, they know what we're running. They know what you want to do. Go get me a bucket. And they can do it. Zion is not at that place, and he's young. I'm not saying he has to be yet. But will he get to that place? Because right now, he might be that 1A guy, that number 2 guy.
He looks pretty aggressive to me.
He is, but I'm saying somebody has to get him the ball.
No,
He can't just, like AD. I have to get AD the ball. I don't have to get LeBron or Giannis.
That's a great point. The 3 best leaders in my life have been Magic, LeBron, and MJ. They had the ball.
Yes.
It's hard to be Joel Embiid. I mean, Kareem was great. Kareem was not a leader.
You had to get him the ball. Right.
But I will say this about him, is that I love his self-awareness. Like, Joy and I were talking about this. If I'm a scout, I spot your talent. If it's otherworldly, John Wall's speed, Steph shooting. My second question is, does he have self-awareness to work on his issues? I think Westbrook at times has struggled. Melo struggled with this. I think the kid's got great self-awareness. He hears the critics. He hears them. He watches them. He understands it. And I got to tell you something. For his size, he's got a nice touch. Sean Kemp never shot a jumper that looked that pretty.
He can improve, and like you said, he already has improved it from college, and I do think he can get better at that. Here's the last thing I'll say about him. For all we talk about his uniqueness and how we've never seen this, in a lot of ways, he's a throwback. One, he doesn't need the ball to give you 25 points a game. As much as I like guys with the ball in their hands, a lot of guys are 2-ball dominant. He's not. You don't have to run many plays for him. Just throw it into the post in it. Yeah. And number 2, he does it in the post. How many young guys are we seeing that go to the basket and go from side to side over the lane and get the ball and score in the post? None are doing it. He's a throwback.
You don't have to be perfect. Adrian Peterson couldn't catch, didn't want to block, and fumbled. But his body was so unique. The dude is still playing. Like, sometimes you got the right DNA. Like, Adrian Peterson was totally flawed. Nobody wanted to tackle him. Nobody wants to body this guy up. We got to go. Very good today.
I love him, though.
Oh, love him.
I love Ja, too, though.
Gottlieb came on this couch and criticized Zion. I threw him off the air.
He's changed. You set him straight because now he's in love with Zion.
I said, Joy is my witness. He'll roll out of bed and score 24 a game. Nobody wants to put a body on that body.
That's true.
Good stuff. Coming up next, finally, sanity with Joe Burrow. Finally, an executive and a scout admit the truth. Next.